You don't give me instructions first?
There's no instructions. Just, keep your headphones in and
Okay. I see both. I hear
wait,
you in
Sterling
stereo.
just texted me. I was gonna house party her. I've overbooked myself.
You do. Are you doing this a lot?
Yes. You mean overbooking myself?
No, like all these calls.
Oh, I love that mug.
It
That's
keeps it keeps everything so cold. It's
Isn't
amazing.
that though for a special cocktail?
It's for Moscow mules, but I have ice water right now.
Okay. Just so everyone knows. So how are you?
I'm well, dealing with things, but very positive, I have to say.
Good. That's great.
Positive.
I had a really low day yesterday. I think that sometimes this moment can be really like there's stuff to do. We're going to have to be creative. And then there's other times that's just really frustrating.
That's how I started. I started putting so much pressure because, I had all these things to do and all these plans. I just started here, like,
Right.
and now it was my time to do the programming that I'm bringing and everything. And,
Wait, tell everybody where you are. I can't say it properly.
why not?
I'm
Come
just
on,
like
try Español.
the something danza.
I'm the director of Compañía Nacional de Danza, which is Spanish National Ballet.
Compan
Compañía, it's not it's the end with a little hat.
Compañía
Yes, there you go.
de
It's very
danza.
similar to French
No,
in a
it's
way.
not.
So yeah, the first few days I was like, okay, I'm gonna use all this time to do all these things that I had to do that I never had the time for, and I was sort of putting a lot of pressure on myself, and a week and a half in, I was like, I was so stressed, and I had this anxiety, and I was like, okay, wait a second. We had to give ourselves a few licenses here. We're dueling, we're dealing with a lot right now, and people
And
are
it's
dying.
everybody. It's not,
Exactly.
like you're not
But
going to keep up.
exactly. But you have to, and everything changed after that. I relax.
Good.
I actually have a better routine because I allow myself. I have my working town time every day, and it changes. It doesn't have to be the same time. But I sort of the schedule came to me as opposed to pushing it.
Nice. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I've been thinking you probably now have time to train in a way that you could do theme again.
I am so in shape. I'm going straight to the stage after
I knew
this.
that you would be. I told Gonzalo.
Yeah.
Joaquin's probably doing double tours somewhere right now.
Yeah, yeah, I am. I run every day in my terrace for 6.5 miles,
Wait, are you just jogging in place?
and I'm not in place. I mean, I have not a little terrace, an okay sized terrace. So
Wait, you're going back and forth for
I
six
do, I
miles?
do, I do the forever sign forever.
Oh my
You know,
God.
Yeah,
That's
six and a
incredible.
half miles. Yeah, so I may be by the coast now, by the coast of Spain.
Do
Right.
you get dizzy when you have to make so
No,
many
no. The
turns?
problem is the first few weeks my ankles were because you had to, kind of paddle around the corners. But I do it every single day. I've been doing it for 34 days straight now.
Oh my God, because I've swam in small pools because I've just been very determined. I am gonna get a workout in,
Yeah.
and this, I'm like at a hotel with this like little dinky kiddie pool, and you swim 2 laps and then turn around. It's like swim two
Uh,
strokes and turn around. But I've never even imagined trying to jog in a small space for
Yeah,
that long.
I may invent Olympic a new
An
sport,
event.
a terrace-thon or something like that.
There might be
But
a lot of new Olympic sports now.
but no, but it's kind of helping me think to be so physically active.
Yeah.
I get so overwhelmed. I'm by myself. I'm alone. So, I was joking. I always joke with my friends that I'm gonna paint. I have a volleyball here. I'm gonna paint the face like Wilson, and I'm gonna start talking to it. But yeah, the physical activity I do every day. I do ballet class, at least a bar every day. And then I mix it up. I even do yoga. I run every day, but then I mix it up with ballet, yoga, and like weight training,
Yeah.
elastic,
I
and
did
all
a
that.
little yoga yesterday and it was just what I needed. I think I took an hour nap right after. Like,
Yeah.
you know, sometimes you have to change it up.
How are you doing with the classes? It's amazing. Everybody that's teaching, my highest respects, because I taught a couple classes for the company, and it's very challenging. It's very
You
different.
mean like teaching online right now or
Yeah,
teaching? Yeah.
teaching online.
Yeah. Um, I'm trying to entertain myself, and I figured I would record some teaching, some classes for YouTube, just because I thought if I record myself, then I will hold myself to the standard that, you
Right.
sometimes need an extra eye there watching to push you
But
to.
you see the people that you teach, right? You see them at the same time.
When I am teaching like a Zoom class, I usually am seeing them. Right now at SAB, they still haven't evolved to video, but I think that they will. I think
Have you seen that video when there's a aerobics or workout class and the guy's eating a burger and
no,
and the instructor is like, keep that smile, and he's like, yeah. It's amazing.
that's hysterical. No, I've seen this one where it was a work meeting, and a girl takes her laptop into the bathroom and sets it on the floor and like starts to go
And she
pee.
forgets or something, and everybody's, yeah.
Everyone stops and they're like, and the guy's like, I'm not seeing anything. Like she just kind of like forgot that like they could see her. But I'm for NYU, I'm doing Zoom with like, 50 other students, and
How do
um,
you like it? How do you like teaching online?
I kind of do like it in a way. You you can look in one direction and see everybody. You just cycle through the little gallery view instead of being like this
Yeah, yeah.
around a classroom. So you've taught a couple company classes at your.
Yeah, yeah. We have company classes for our dancers, and
So
it's not they can take anybody's class because there's so many classes right now
Oh,
outside.
so right now you're teaching company class through Zoom for your dancers
Yes,
sometimes.
yeah. It's through
Nice.
Facebook. We have a group for the company.
That's
It's not
nice.
open for everybody, but and we just got in floors, little squares
That's
of
great.
linoleum.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
got little floors too. I had mine sent to New York though because I plan to go back someday. So
yeah, yeah. When
I'm
is
I'm in Utah right now. I have no idea. Maybe like in a couple weeks, I'm hoping. My parents would probably appreciate that. I think they're like, we love you, but I came with, two other people, like a husband and a baby. So it's probably a lot for them.
It's a
They've been
lot, probably.
retired and they're used to their
Yeah,
space.
everybody's asking me how I'm dealing with being alone and everything, but it's challenging, like being confined with your family, or everything has a challenge, I
Everything
think.
has its challenge. This is totally
Yeah,
true. I'm afraid to go back home because I won't have their help to babysit and I won't be able to like multitask as many things. But then I also, want to have my space and all of my things. I'm wearing top from my mom right now because I'm like, I don't have as many clothes here. I only brought two pairs of point
I thought that
shoes.
was your teaching outfit. It's very proper,
No, I was just in my pajamas when you texted me. So I was like, oh, got to put
hey.
on something
uh,
nicer.
The other day I went to the warehouse where the company has the sets and the costumes, and that's where they keep the floors. And I went personally to pick the floor and
Nice.
cut it for the dancers. That was my only outing except to the grocery store in like, a month and a half or something like
That's
that.
just crazy.
Yeah. It was
This
like,
is,
wow, we need to go to the warehouse. I'll go. Get me one of those permits so I don't get arrested.
yeah. Did you have to wear a mask or?
Yeah, yeah, I wear mask and gloves and everything. But here is, I mean, here is not as here's more strict than the U.S. I think they
I think,
fine you. They
I think that's good. I think,
Yeah,
you know. Okay. I want to ask you a bunch of questions
yeah,
and
please.
bug you. Okay. So, this boys dance 2 thing has become popular and when you were probably starting ballet, it probably wasn't a hashtag back then. Like it probably wasn't a popular thing.
It was not a hashtag and it was not popular. Let me tell you.
So how did you get into it?
My mom sort of pushed me. Actually, not sort of. She pushed me literally into the studio, so
Did
into
she
the
push
ballet
your little
studio.
brother?
Yeah, we both started.
Okay.
My brother and I started, and then
How old were
he did.
you?
I was 10.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was 10. I was, I was just, I was not the case that I heard music and I started dancing. I was more of an actor. I would change outfits and, you know,
That
just
makes
do,
sense.
yeah, exactly.
I've seen the dramatic side of you.
Right? There you go. And crazy hair too, that
That's
from
true.
that age. Uh, No, I tried different things. Everybody plays soccer in Spain, and I
Okay.
was in bullfighting school because of my grandfather.
Was
He was a
he?
bullfighter.
He was a bullfighter.
Yeah. So every male in the family was obliged to at least spend a few months in the school, and I
What's
spent a
the
season.
school like?
It's not, you don't get to torture animals until later. No, it's more learning about, these they're amazing animals, and it's more about community. It was just a bunch of kids, you're playing around, and it's
Okay, so it's not like you're learning a posture or it's a
no, you learn the tendencies of the bull. You learn about the animal a lot. It's more of it was like, when you start ballet, you don't learn the steps or the stage right away.
right, right.
But it was not my thing. My mom was very happy that I didn't like it.
Yeah, that's scary.
Yeah. And then, yeah, I went in my little town. I went to the school there, and there was not many boys. So, the teacher was like so happy to have
And was
me. And
it just ballet, or was it like in the U.S. It's always comes as a bundle: ballet, tap, and jazz, and
yeah,
and
over there,
sometimes tap is like the entry for a lot of people in America.
yeah, over here is flamenco, ballet and flamenco.
Okay.
Yeah. So you start learning rhythms, and and being very over the top from a very young age. You know about that too.
I do, I do. We can talk about
Uh,
that later.
and then in Madrid, this school, the guy that would turn out to be my biggest teacher there was offering scholarships for boys because back in the day in Spain it was there was not many, and I got bullied. Well, I didn't get bullied because I fought back, but it was hard. I was the weird one that wore tights and stuff.
So at school, people found out that that's what you did, and it even in Europe, it wasn't a totally accepted thing.
No, 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 not at all. In the southern Europe, is very
Conservative.
conservative, and what's the word I'm looking for? Patriarch system.
Uh huh.
Like
Right.
boys do
Boys don't do
sports,
that.
exactly, firefighters and all that. You know, and girls play with dolls, sort of thing. So it was challenging, but I started. There's something about the studio that sort of captured me right away. I can't. It was funny when JP was teaching me get Dance at the Gathering. That first solo, you walk into a studio, right?
Hmm.
And still remember that smell of that studio.
Oh
It's very
wow,
special. Yeah,
that's
yeah.
cool.
It was a good smell. It's not like it's, you know, feet and sweat.
And that, and
So
that.
yeah, I took a scholarship in Madrid, and I sort of took it a bit more serious.
And tell everyone that amazing class that you were with, like all of these other talented dancers. You guys all went on to do big things.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how it happened, but there was like 12 of us in that class, and it was an amazing experience because everybody was really amazing at their thing, but we all learned from each other, and it was a incredible time. And we went on tour. We toured with the school. We were going to summer festivals and European festivals, traveling with the school, just showing a little the workshop sort of thing like they do in SAB, but we
Hmm.
moved around, we traveled, because it was so good. And I was in class with Lucia Lacarra, Tamara Rojo, which is English National Ballet Director, Angel Corella, who's Pennsylvania Ballet Director now. Five of us, I think, are artistic directors in
Isn't
companies.
that incredible?
It's kind of weird. It's like the planets align or
It
something.
is really like, yeah, being in the right place at the right time or some destined thing. That is so
Yeah,
crazy.
Victor was a wonderful teacher. He
What was
he
his
was
last name?
Uyate, Victor Uyate. Yeah,
I'm not gonna try to pronounce that.
it's okay. We forgive you.
Okay.
No, he was just really hands-on teacher, and very different back in the day. I mean, that he was very strict. He taught 3-hour classes, and it was hard.
Three
Yeah,
hours? So bar,
yeah.
was it like
It was
over
an
an
hour and
hour?
15 minutes. Yeah, an hour and 15 in
I mean,
bar.
I could see how you could take that long, but would I have continued dancing? Maybe not.
Yeah, many people didn't actually. There was so many other so talented people that just
It takes
exploded
a
along the way.
very special work ethic to be able to get through that as a young kid. I mean, were you 12 when you started with him or?
Yeah, I was 11. It was 1 year after I started.
Okay.
Uh, and
Yeah,
yeah,
that's a lot of focus and attention and
yeah. He was so intense, and it was sort of like, I don't want to say culty, but he had a following. It was very weird. He was
okay.
very intense. Like, when he looked at you, he had piercing eyes, and it was like my mother's flip flop. When she brought the flip flop, I was afraid. She didn't need to hit me.
Did you look up to him as like a father figure?
Yeah,
Or
yeah, he was definitely. I spent so much time with him, and he taught to us a lot about you know his
he
career
he
and
knew he
his
was a
life.
mentor and he took
Yeah,
that.
yeah, definitely,
That's great.
definitely. And then then when you grow up a little bit, you question some of the methods that he used and everything. But you gotta be grateful and take the good things, and
Yeah.
and he was amazing to all of us.
Yeah,
So
and it made you guys who you are today. I mean, what an incredible class of people
yeah,
that
it was fun. It was amazing. Really great memories from that.
I think there really is something to being surrounded by other really talented people. If you're at the top of your class wherever you are, it unless you're like really really intense, you're not going to be pushing yourself as much. So you guys were probably feeding off of each
Oh,
other.
completely, completely. I remember, I mean, when Angel came a little later. He came a year after, and when we were learning to do first and second and the arms, tiki tiki tiki, he
Wow.
was already turning alasagon and everything.
Oh wow.
He was like an alien. Everybody was like,
What are
"Wow,
you doing?
yes."
Wow.
So yeah, everybody had their forte, their
Yeah.
their thing that they did amazing, and we kind of like, it was healthy competition. It was
That's
great.
great. I love healthy competition. I don't like
Yeah.
stressful competition.
We know there's a few of that. There's a few.
So then how did you get to New York and Pennsylvania?
So I danced for he had a company. Victor had a company, and I danced for him for a couple of years only. Um, I didn't like it very much. The company wasn't that great. He was not a very good director. He was a better teacher, a better mentor. And then the directing was not his thing. He didn't know how to handle it, and also the rep. I just, it wasn't working for me. I wanted more, and many of us left because of that.
Uh-huh.
So all these tapes would VHS. I don't know if many of the people watching, they probably don't know what a VHS is. Video cassette. Some of those, there was no internet back then, so you couldn't go on YouTube and watch a dancer. Or so we would get some of those tapes. Somebody would buy the tapes, and then we would get together in a house and watch these videos. We watched Misha's Don Q with ABT, Barishnikov, and Cynthia Harvey. And I was just like that. I think that's the moment where I wanted to take it serious. I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to do that. And then we some Balanchine festivals. Remember those, the Balanchine
Yeah, they
festivals?
never made it to my house for some reason.
They were amazing.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh my God, I need to go to America. This is where I need to go.
Uh-huh. Did you guys all
Um,
kind of feel that way collectively, your whole class?
yeah, it was amazing. When you saw videos from America, and ABT and New York City Ballet, and it was just fun. We'd never been exposed to, other companies would come to Spain, like the National Ballet of Cuba, but it was always so traditional and so
Uh-huh.
uh, things that we've seen before. But when I saw Balanchine and I saw these ballets, it blew my mind. I was fascinated. So I wanted to. That was my dream. I gotta get to New York, and I come from a very, not poor, but like mid class sort of, not accommodated family, and I didn't have savings. So a friend of mine told me there was a competition in Hungary, a ballet competition, and the first prize was, I can't remember now, $10,000 or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
And you should go, you should go. And so I went to the competition, and it was a horrible experience. It was we would do another YouTube session for that one, because that was it was hard, but I won. I
Oh, you
won
won
the
it.
gold medal. Yeah, I won it. But it was still horrible. It was one of those things, I always tell my students, or whatever, people that ask me for advice. Competitions are a great experience, but it's also you also learn from how awful it can be. This competition, this judging, this politics. It's sort of like a nutshell of what the life, a whole career of negativity is going to be.
Yeah. I never did a ballet competition. It sounds incredibly stressful, but more
It's
power
very
to you.
stressful. Over there even more, because it was in Hungary, and it was, everything was in Russian, all the schedules, all the teachers. I didn't speak a word of English. I did my lighting through a cleaning lady that spoke Italian.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was horrible.
Wow.
So
How old
anyway,
were you?
I was 18.
Okay.
I was 18. So anyway, I grabbed my money and I ran out of there, and that's how I came to New York.
That's amazing. Good for
Yeah,
you. You worked your way here. So you
yeah.
came
Yeah.
to New York first. How did you end up in Pennsylvania Ballet?
I was taking class at Steps with Willie Berman, rest in peace,
Oh.
and this woman approached me and asked me if I wanted to join Pennsylvania Ballet, and I called my mom and I said, "Mom, I think I got offered a contract where Dracula is from," because I had no idea where Pennsylvania was. It sounded like Transylvania, you know.
And she said,
That's
take it.
Yeah, she was like, "You think you should take it?" And I was like, and then I found out that it was Pennsylvania, and it was like very close to New York, and I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I feel better now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Sandy Jennings. Sandy Jennings was
Amazing. Amazing.
yeah, she's like, "You want to join Pennsylvania Ballet as a soloist?" And I was like, "What?"
Oh,
Yeah,
wow. You were never
yeah.
even a corps member?
Later on, yeah, I went backwards. When I got to ABT, I was a core.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, that's how I went to Philly, and it was my first American experience, my first American home.
And then you quickly moved back to New York to go to ABT, or was it a couple years?
No, it was 1 year. It was one
Oh, okay,
year
that's short. Did you
after.
did
Yeah.
you do an official audition for ABT? How'd you
Well,
get in?
I auditioned for New York City Ballet first.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
I went.
what did they say?
Well, this is another story that's is incredible. I finally got an audition. I think Wendy helped me get an audition, and Peter or Debbie, I think, wrote me and told me to go to SAB to take men's class, and Peter would come watch me. So I get to SAB, change. I'm at the bar warming up, and there's four men that walk in. Misha, he was teaching class. It's the
Okay.
first time that I see Varyshnikov live, right? So I'm already shaking. Then there was Peter, and then there was two other men that I didn't know at the time. It was Eddie and it was Jerry.
Are you serious?
I have no idea why they were there. I didn't know who they were at that
Well, the
time.
good thing you didn't, because
Yeah, I mean, imagine, it's like,
wow,
yeah, it was
that's
bad enough that Misha was teaching and I couldn't even learn a combination because it was just like, you know, I was so starstruck. It was amazing.
he was kind
So
of around SAB when I was there, and my aunt came to watch a class once, and we're dancing over here, and Misha's out in the hallway, and my aunt was like, because he
yeah,
was like, a star of her generation. She was just like with her mouth open, staring out the window. I was like, Aunt Laura,
yeah,
we're over here.
I was the same. I was like, am I in a dream? Well,
Yeah,
thank God I didn't know who the other two were
yeah,
yet.
that's incredible. And
So
then,
after
so what did
class,
what did Peter say?
Peter came to me and said, and he made me go take class the next day with the company.
Okay,
I took class
that's
at the main,
intimidating.
and the main when the main was
Yeah,
facing the other way.
yeah,
Remember that?
yeah,
And it was blue.
yeah.
It's painted blue. Yeah, I came and took class with the whole company, and then he talked to me. I went to his office, and he was very, very honest and very, very, very nice. He said to me, I love your dancing, but the rep for the next couple seasons is already made, and you're gonna be bored here. Why don't you go to ABT? You're perfect for ABT. So I did that, and I was there for 7 years until I came back.
And so, when did you know the door was open again with New York City Ballet?
Well, I didn't. I saw Peter a number of times when I was in ABT, just casually, and one of the times I just said, I want to talk to you. Can I call you? And I called him, and I came into the office and I say, I think it's time for me to be here. What do you think? And he asked me why. He asked me, and I said, "What do you mean why? I was here 7 years ago, and you sent me to ABT."
He thought he'd done his thing.
Exactly. No, and he was very honest. He's like, um, let's give it a try. You give it a try. I give it a try and see how it goes. And
So when was that meeting, and when did you get back into New York City Ballet, or arrive for the first?
that meeting was right before I joined, 2004.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
2000 yeah.
tell us about your time in ABT.
My time in ABT was amazing because everybody that I admire, female and male, was dancing in the company at the time. It was an amazing time.
Those were amazing years there. That's very
amazing. I was so lucky, and two of my big idols, Julio Boca and Jose Carreño, were in the company, and they sort of took me under their wing. It was another. I think now that I look back at all my time in New York, I think I've been so blessed with these snippets of dreams that that every young dancer have. Like a little kid growing up in a small town here, I could never imagine watching those days that these guys would stay and watch my rehearsal and give me corrections, or help me to get an apartment in New York, or it's like surreal.
That is so cool. That was like a really Latin time in ABT.
It was, as a matter of fact, I was just talking to John Celia the other day, and we were talking about, because there was two buses on tour, and one of them was the quiet bus, and one of them was the Latino bus. Yeah,
that's really funny. Because I feel like they've had their Russian moments and
yes, exactly.
but that was really a Latin time. Looking back,
there was a lot of Latin people, and it was a wonderful time because everybody was so friendly. So it was like a big family, and
That's
and
cool.
everybody stayed in the and watched everybody in the wings. Like I remember doing Romeo and Juliet, and the first in the ABT version, the first act is closed by that balcony parade. And the whole company, literally the whole company, was watching in the wings.
That's
It was
amazing.
insane.
So how was it to perform on that Met stage?
It's intimidating.
Is
Very
it?
intimidating.
Is it? Because when you're out there in the audience, the stage looks almost like really far away and kind of small.
It's like a tunnel.
It's the
it's like a
same
dark
thing when
tunnel.
you're on the stage looking out. It has that kind of.
Yeah, it has that. That's the only thing that you don't like, but everything is in a weird way. You feel very comfortable on that stage. I don't know what it is.
Do you feel that you have to project more when the audience feels further away?
Yeah, they're very far away sometimes. But I think it's very what do you call it? The way it's designed that you see the stage pretty much, for at least not from the top, but you see the stage pretty well.
I've sat in the top before, and it's still fun, but it is very, very far away.
I'll tell you a little story of the first time that I danced at the Met. I was doing Peasant Pas de Deux in Giselle, and there was a huge storm, like huge thundering and lightning and rain, like torrential rain. And I'm really afraid of storms. I was really always very afraid of storms. So I'm like doing my dancing, and I'm like, oh my God, with all the nerves. And I finish my solo. I go like that with a hand, and a drop of water on my palm of my hand.
Oh my God.
Yes.
From however far up.
Yes. That time was perfect. Yeah.
That's incredible. Do you remember we did a Donizetti once, very early on, where you could hear the thunder during.
Yes.
Do you remember that?
I remember that.
That was cool. Because it's not often so quiet on stage that you would be able to hear something like that happening outside. But I love storms, and I love thunder.
You do?
So I thought it was cool. Yeah.
I'm getting better at it. I don't get in my parents' bed anymore, like I used to. No, but my time at ABT was fantastic. I learned a lot, and I think it was the perfect time. It was 7 years. I got to dance many incredible roles. I got opportunities, and see incredible. I think I learned a lot from watching
How
the
do you think
dance.
your dancing would have been different if you had never been in ABT and you went straight into New York City Ballet?
I don't know.
Did being in ABT shape your technique in a certain way that was maybe like
it definitely
different?
helped me as a person. I couldn't tell you if it would have been different, possibly technically and and possibly artistically too. Yeah, I think so. I think everything we do, even in life,
Right.
sort of makes you the dancer or the person that you are, you know.
Right.
So it's hard to tell how it would have been different, you know.
Yeah,
But
that's true.
it was a wonderful time, and I think, you know, when I took the decision to make a move, I was ready. And you know, I always admired City Ballet. I went to watch many shows when I was at ABT, and I had many friends there. So it was another you know,
Dream.
blessing for me to, yeah, another dream to be in both companies and to make the change. And it was a very challenging change.
That's true. So I had just joined the company. Well, like I'd been there maybe, if you joined, I had been there 2 years.
Right.
And then you joined. And on your first tour, you joined on a tour, on a Copenhagen tour.
Yes.
And you did Symphony in C with Ashley Bowder.
That's right. I was scheduled to dance the last Saturday of the tour, so I was like, you know, working my way into the, you know, into the tour, knowing the company. This is my first tour, so fun. And then Benjamin got injured, and I got thrown into Joe the Cart. Stravinsky. I've never in my life had to dance Stravinsky and count a 2, a 9, and a 3, and
That's quite an introduction. And like Jeu de Carte, even if you've been in New York City Ballet a long time, is still very difficult to learn and takes like maybe a good 3 weeks to really feel like you know what you're doing and feel comfortable in the movement. So you learned it in like what, 3 days?
2 days
2 days.
with Russell.
Well, he's the best person to learn
He's
it
the
with.
best person. Let me tell you, he was in the wing
Russell
counting for me
Kaiser.
because I'm the worst one and the worst counter in the world. I know, you know this. You knew all the counts when we danced together.
I guess. I mean, I would say I'm not even a great counter, but I think I had to like fill the void, you know?
Definitely. I remember I was to tell Sally would ask me, Sally Leland, our rehearsal, our ballet mistress for many of the ballets we danced together. She would ask me, Joaquin, do you know the count? I'm like, no, I'm just watching Megan whenever she goes, I go.
That's
You know, that
hysterical.
entrance in Ruby's?
Oh,
You know, when we had in
I
the
have,
silence?
well, because we did both kind of struggle with it. I still, now when I do it with Gonzalo, he's like, what are you doing? So now I'm the one that's dragging
Okay.
their feet and
I'm,
I'm never coming out on time.
I'm glad to pass the torch to you.
You know, thinking of Jeu de Carte, I was just thinking about, remember that one show I got to the back of the stage and you're supposed to enter on for the pas de trois and take me in the attitude and swing me around and you weren't there?
Oh, yes, I
And I
remember that.
just shouted, Joaquin! With my back was to the audience, and like, I mean, you came out.
Megan did this a lot. What she just did, she did this a lot to me.
But you know, sometimes it was necessary.
It was necessary.
Sometimes it wasn't.
I admit that you know, I would have done the same or worse to be.
I've also yelled out your name when you were like just right there. Like I panicked in Saratoga for Vienna there for the finale in the big white dresses. I thought that I couldn't find you, and you were like watching from the first wing, and I was backstage going, Joaquin, Joaquin, and you were like, I'm right here. I think I had PTSD from other times. Oh my God.
Toga, remember when I chased you with a pretended to have caught a bat?
I've never forgotten it.
Megan ran hysterically through the whole backstage.
I was in Saratoga, so it was like outdoors. So it was possible that you could have found a bat. There were bats kind of flying around at night, but I don't like things that fly. Like I was just in like the butterfly exhibit at the Natural History Museum, and I realized it's the wings that I'm just like not okay with. Even just
Yeah, wing
butterflies.
phobia.
Yeah, those are a positive species, you know, like they're not out to get you. And I could not even be there. I was huddled in the corner waiting for the rest of my group to finish walking through the butterflies because I'm just not okay with that. So
Tully was looking at you like,
she was. It's a real
what's
fear.
wrong with
It's a real fear. So when you came into New York City Ballet, did you know they were going to make you dance with such an inexperienced young girl?
Well, in a way, I was also inexperienced. I didn't do that much partnering, and the partnering was very different. So,
That's true.
um, I think if I was more experienced, it was more about
You know
the other
what?
part of
You
it.
had
Like,
the technique down, and you also had. I just remember the first time we ever did NetPod together. That I was terrified, by the way, and I had a lot of things going on in my head. But when we walked down on stage together, like it was suddenly just a whole nother level from rehearsal, and you were like that, and I was like, oh, and it cued me. Like I feel very lucky that I had someone that had a lot of performance experience and knew how to present themselves to the audience because you evolve as a dancer depending on who you're dancing with. Like if
true, yeah.
if you are like holding someone's hand and walking out there, you kind of mimic each other. And if someone doesn't get it and they're kind of like casual, it's going to take you a lot more time to figure it out. And I remember it was like the quickest thing I've ever like learned. Like I was like I like pulled myself up right away, and to be more like royalty. Like it was this, you were walking out with such a presence, and I'm like,
This
I'm
is, for the
nervous.
record, this is the first time that Megan tells me something like this. I'm about to cry.
No, I wrote you really, didn't I write this?
I'm,
I wrote
no,
you a
I'm
nice
joking.
card about it, didn't
I'm
I?
joking. I'm joking. No, it was wonderful. You know what? It was really amazing for me to see you blossom. During this time.
Well,
No, it's,
I mean, you literally saw me like from scratch.
yeah, but it was wonderful for me too. It gave me that freshness too. Sometimes I
You
think,
didn't feel overwhelmed by my anxiety that was just emanating.
no, because I kind of made the switch, and I was taking a lot of credit and a lot of satisfaction if in partnering and like in taking care of
Uh
my
huh.
partner.
Uh huh.
My priorities sort of changed,
Uh huh.
in the
That's
way I
true.
dance. And obviously Peter and watching all these amazing partners that the company has had and it has.
Yeah.
It made me value way more the partner aspect of the male dancer, and I took pride in, like, it's at times, when I dance something, I miss something, or I think I had a bad show personally, the other part compensated that
Good. Yeah,
thing.
that's
Yeah,
cool.
you know.
That's nice.
And also, I felt like I was pulling you artistically.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It was great. It was great because I was,
Well,
was probably,
I was really, really shy then. And
yeah.
also, I was really overwhelmed by the tasks that we were given.
But you're
Like,
gonna say overwhelmed. This Latino guy, like,
well, that's a whole nother story. But when we started out, I didn't know your personality so much. It was just like we were given these difficult, difficult ballets to figure out together. And it was everything happening all at once that I was trying to figure out. Like I was trying to figure out how to present myself, the partnering,
right.
and we're given things like theme and variations within like 2 years of starting to work together. So I have a very specific memory. Well, first of all, that sugar plum was like I remember crying afterwards. We worked so hard and I felt like I bombed it. Like I felt like we walked into the bubble of the spotlight and I immediately had this feeling I just want to run off the stage. And maybe you did not sense this, but I was like, maybe I can just run off right now. I don't want to be here at all. I don't like this lighting. I felt completely vulnerable. And like, I felt that way for like the first couple years that, I mean, it wasn't just you, it was like you were experiencing me feeling all of this for the first time. It was like so incredibly intense for me. And I remember specifically one time before our debut of Theme and Variations, we were in DC. And like theme was very emotional for me because it was a ballet. Not that I'd been in the company that long, but every time I did a new thing, I would be like, well, at least it's not theme and variations. So then when we had to do theme and variations, I was left with no other mental safety net.
Right.
And I cried a lot. Like after every rehearsal, like the 2 weeks leading up to that show, I would go into the dressing room and cry before and after. Like I was so overwhelmed with this ballet. Did you have any idea I was that overwhelmed?
Not to that extent, but yeah.
Like I was not sleeping. Starting 2 weeks before, I was not sleeping, and then like when we finally went down to DC because that's where we debuted it at the Kennedy Center, you were really like I think you were excited, and you'd done the ballet before in ABT, and you seemed to have like a pep in your step, and I was completely like so stressed out and scared that I felt like I couldn't even move. And you're like, "Hey, how you doing?" I remember sitting on the floor and I looked up at you and I wanted to burst into tears. I just remember thinking, "Wow, he is not as nervous as I am." And I feel like totally overwhelmed right now. Like I cannot even believe I got through those years. Like the fear of having to do something when you don't know that you can do it yet. I mean,
Yeah.
did you ever have that at ABT, that kind of fear?
Well, I was about to say the first thing that well, not the first thing, but the first really big thing was theme. I got thrown in theme, and I had to do with Ashley Tuttle, and I was very young there, and I remember feeling that like I have no idea if I can get through this
Yeah,
ballet because it's
yeah.
it's one of those that you can't hide,
No,
You're there. The curtain goes up. You're in fit position. I mean, more revealing than that is,
there isn't.
it's an animal that. But I think that by that time, but the Kennedy Center, I felt good about it, and I felt like
By that
like
time, how many shows had you done of theme by the time we did it together?
probably not that many, but like probably at least 5 or 6. Yeah,
Uh-huh. And like a couple years it had been in your
yes,
system and you
exactly,
had processed it. Yeah.
exactly.
Oh my God, the
But
fear I had.
I would not. Yeah, I was confident enough to like carry you through it if that needed to
Yeah.
happen.
I mean,
That's
that's true. If we both were brand new and freaking out at the same time,
yeah,
I don't think that anything would have been happening properly. But I think that those shows went well. I actually don't remember them. It's funny, you almost don't remember the good shows because you're like just glad that they went okay enough and you remember the bad ones. And I remember it kind of going okay.
yeah. I think they went okay.
We did it again. They cast us again. So,
Yeah.
do you remember? I
Awesome.
shared a costume with Sophiane then because I wasn't like legitimate enough to
So
have,
yeah,
yeah.
you
It
guys
was,
are completely different.
I know, it was like the whole costume was like folded in on itself and I had like, like it was like not the right size for me. And it was like extra heavy because it had all this extra fabric that I was like carrying.
Great, just what you need.
The tutu was bigger, like everything was not ideal. And now, I'm very spoiled with my own tutu.
That
But
was what 1 year in, and when we started partnering.
so I have so 2001 I got in, 2003 we did Sugar Plum.
Mm-hmm.
2000 wait
4 or 5.
5 we did theme because it was just that it was like a year and a couple months
Yeah.
that after
But
we
in the
first started
meantime,
partnering.
we've done other things, right? Like
We
Donizetti
did
and
Coppelia in the meantime because that's what I got promoted to soloist with. So we did first Nutcracker, then that winter season we did Coppelia and I got promoted to soloist then. And then the next year, right before DC, we both got promoted to principal together. Do you remember
you
that
have to tell the
experience?
story. You have to tell that story because it's amazing. Everybody
Well,
needs to hear this.
you should add your bits in too. But I was really sick. I was actually had bronchitis then, and happened to be around the theater, and it was a matinee that day. And Russell Kaiser stopped by the girls' dressing room and was like, "Megan, Peter would like to talk to you after the matinee." And I never had had talks before, really. So I was like, "Is it about the tutu?" And he was like, "Yeah." Or I don't know. I don't remember what he said, but I was already
Do you
feeling guilty.
have they heard what happened? Do
I
you
will
do you tell
explain.
them?
So
Yeah.
you and I had just come back from a Nutcracker gig, and I had borrowed a tutu from the company that was, let's admit, a very
The tutu.
well. It was a
Okay.
tutu. That's
It was a
important,
historical tutu.
but it was really like they'd taken all the jewels off, and it was like I arrived at the gig, and the people on the gig were like, "Really, this is your costume?" Like it was in bad shape. It was yellow. It was supposed to be white. Like it wasn't cute. But that's not why I lost it. But anyways, I lost it. I left it on the other plane. I transferred in LA, and it was in like the special, hanging section of the first flight, and I forgot to take it off. And as the second plane is leaving, I think I might have screamed, like Home Alone, like,
I'm pretty sure you
Kevin!
did.
But it was like, tutu! And I knew it was gone. And I kept trying to call after I landed. And, they're not going to like return a tutu from a lost and found. Like, I don't know what someone did with it, but I never found it again. So anyways, I thought that's why I was being called to the office. And I showed up and you were there. So I kind of was like, first confused. And then I was like, oh no, this must really be about the tutu because he was on the gig with me. And so we go into the room together. And you probably knew we were getting promoted. You knew.
No. I didn't know. I had no idea. Because Peter started, he said to us, I can't let you go on gigs if, every time I let you go, you're going to lose a costume, it's costing the company a fortune. And I was like, I was looking like, is there a camera? Because I was not in the flight with you. Remember, I took a different flight.
Yeah, you were on a different flight.
Right. And I was like, is this happening right now? Am I getting blamed for a costume?
Gosh, now that I think about it too, was that my first gig, or maybe first or second gig, like Nutcracker gig? Like I was really brand new to already be losing a tutu. That's really embarrassing. So he continued the story that I accidentally started with Russell and made the whole thing about the tutu that I lost and being in trouble. And then he goes, that's not why you're here. You're promoted. And you were like, yay. You were totally like, chill. And because I was so into this tutu saga, could not process what had just happened. And I had just been promoted to soloist like 11 months before. It wasn't even a full year. So like, was it probable? No, that I would be promoted to principal. So that in and of itself was difficult to believe. But then there was this whole tutu drama that I was like, wait, why are we here? And I remember I said, what? First of all, I said, are you sure?
I think you did.
Are you sure? And he was like, yeah.
You sure?
And then I said, you and Peter hugging each other. And I'm feeling like, I was like, what? What? And I remember walking down that whole hallway on the 4th floor thinking, or saying, did I say to you? I was like, what? I could not process it. It took me like a full 24 hours. And I don't know, maybe I was on some medication for the bronchitis. I don't know what, but like that's an incredible story. I mean, I think Peter really had fun stressing me out. And at the end, they let me off the hook with a tutu. So not only did I get a raise.
They let you on the hook, but everything changed after that, I think, for the rentals and everything.
That's true.
Not everybody else.
No, but now they give the real costume. So you might pay a little more, but you get the real deal. And, I don't think anyone else has lost a tutu. So
don't feel better about losing a Karinska original costume.
Don't tell everybody. You guys, it was yellow and it had no jewels on it. Okay, that's enough of that story. So then we did just a ton of stuff together. I mean, it kind of goes into a blur for me. What stands out for you?
Thanks. Thank you. Thanks. That's very sweet of you. It stands out for me. What stands out for me? Octet. No, Donizetti stands out for me. We did that a lot.
Yeah, we did that a lot.
Rubies, we did a lot.
Do you remember that first Rubies? It was a matinee. And,
yes.
Well, do you remember when she was teaching it to us, Sally Leland?
Yeah.
She walked out of the room.
Yeah.
She was...
Mainly because of my, changing the choreography.
we couldn't pick it up quite fast enough for her.
Yeah.
And my favorite thing... She walked out of the room. Don't you remember? Gonzalo was about to join the company, Gonzalo Garcia, and he was watching rehearsal because you guys were buddies. And Sally was trying to teach it to us for the first time. And I don't know if it was like him watching or what, or us being so slow. But she finally just got up and walked out of the room because we took too long to learn some steps. And Gonzalo was like, what is going on here? Like, what kind of situation do you guys have going? It was the first time she ever walked out of a rehearsal, but he was like thinking this happens on a regular basis.
And then another one that stands out very much is Bese.
Oh
That's
yeah,
very.
Beze. You did not
It's a,
like it as much as I did at first. At first, I loved it, but you were like, "This variation
yeah,
is
it,
hell."
it grew on me.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know what to make of it at the beginning. All this partnering behind the back, and
that's true. That's not so
it's
fun.
awkward. It's awkward,
Yeah, there
and
is
that's
some
so.
finessing
Yeah.
that needs to
Um,
happen.
but artistically, you learn how to go through it, and then it starts giving you
Yeah.
stuff. What else did we do? Vienna. We did Vienna. We did Coppelia. We did Beauty.
Oh yeah, we did. Yeah, we did beauty.
Did Beauty.
I remember having a lot of rehearsals at the very beginning with Sean and Meryl and you guys having such a great rapport and laughing and starting off the rehearsal so chill. And I remember just like being in my own little.
Megan, I was always very serious in rehearsal. These people are gonna think that I was a goofball or something.
No, but you talk, you're always up in the front like this.
What is this stuff?
I don't know. So
I walk like that. I stop. I stop a taxi.
no, so I just remember you having a real ease at the beginning of rehearsal, and I don't know if you ever had nerves like I did, but you must have just been more mature and sure of your abilities. And I was like entering these rehearsals feeling so like overwhelmed, and you guys were always chilling, and I was like, this little club of them, I feel so left out. I was just like, oh my God. Those first, like, I would say those first 3 years were like a real
Well, you also
test.
had Meryl a lot, and she was more intense for you guys, I think,
That's true.
for the girl.
Sean liked to joke around and lighten the
Yeah,
mood.
yeah,
And the feeling with Meryl, while it was great, it was always like there's always more to do, which when you're young and trying to just like have any little success, you're just like hoping they'll say, "Oh, great." And when it's always like, "No, no, no." It's like
sure.
I look back now and I'm so grateful for all of those years, but
Yeah.
because I feel like I have a real intensity about which I approach my technique.
But just think about it. If you had a very, very intense and like nervous partner in the rehearsals, I don't know if you would have made it
That's true. I probably wouldn't
alive.
have. That's true. That's true. But I
I
think
think
you guys being so chill made me like feel like even more isolated. I was like, can someone be a little stressed out with me? Like, holy cow. We never did anything neoclassical together. Isn't that funny?
we never did, huh?
Never. You and I would do some things like,
Well, we did Fearful. That's kind of neoclassical.
that's as neoclassical as it got.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Because if we did do something neoclassical, we were with other partners randomly.
Yes.
Isn't that
Yeah,
funny?
that's very true.
I
That's
always
very
thought it
fun.
was weird, like, we're only partners for classical things. It's just, I
Yeah.
thought that was kind of funny.
I think we did. I mean, you and I have the tag of like that, the couple that does those ballets,
Yeah.
We had our rep, and
Yeah.
I mean, later on you did a lot of other stuff, but I was always the classical
Right.
Balanchinian or Rubens.
Right. Right.
How many times I went to the office and I said I want to do a black and white ballet. That's why I came here, and it never happened. So when I retire, I went to Peter was asking me what ballets I wanted to do for my retirement, and I said to him, I have my
Forties.
list. No, I had a fake piece of paper, and I was like, okay, I have Symphony 3, Agon, and Forties, and he laughed so hard.
That's great.
I
I love
wanted,
that.
yeah,
I love
yeah,
that. But by the
but
time, well, I'm just realizing by the time that you retired, Peter was gone. So you guys planned your retirement show together, but by the time,
yes, we planned it together, and then there was a
and I
slight
was
change.
gone too.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I waddled
That's
onto
right.
stage and said
That's
goodbye. Oh
right.
my God, I was such
I
a
was
mess.
I know. I was very touched to see you there, but I was also, I wish I had the chance to do a last dance with you.
I know. But I tried to warn you. So for everyone to know, I got pregnant. I missed your retirement show. But like right when I knew I was pregnant, I didn't tell hardly any people. But I
Yeah,
told you
I know.
like right away because I knew the ballets coming up might be our last together. And I had always kind of thought, I keep pushing back when I'm going to have a kid, and you keep pushing back your retirement. And I just saw these two
Yeah,
events.
the
They were,
perfect storm.
yeah, I just saw it happening from like 4 years away. I really did. I swear to God, I called it. Like I knew it would happen.
Yeah.
But we did a last Baiser together. That's
Yes.
the last thing we did, which I think is fitting. And
It's
it,
fit.
and I think
It
we
was.
both knew that at least it was the last time we would do Baiser together. So we both were, paying attention.
Yeah.
You always want to like pay attention and know something's the last time you're going to do it, maybe with that partner, or you
Oh
want to
yeah,
you
yeah.
want to
No, absolutely,
remember. Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. And then we were supposed to do Zakuski, which would have been fun one last time, but I didn't make it to DC.
Mm-mm.
Well, I made it, but then I left. I was like, no, I can't. But I was so
It
bummed. And I don't think you realized, like, I was like crying. I was like, I'm not going to be able to. And you're like, it's okay. And then we got back to the spring season and you're like, wait, you're not dancing anything else? And I go, no.
I know. I didn't think I realized at the time when I
Yeah.
said
Were
it's
you wondering
okay.
why I was
Yeah.
crying so much? What is your problem? And then the day of your retirement show, I think that I was having some psychological, like some sadness about it, but I was not processing it because like I could not get ready, I couldn't do my hair, I couldn't like everything was like a mess, like I was just like having one of those days where I'm like I'm just not going to even go, I think I was like emotional, but I didn't know it.
Right.
And then I came backstage and I saw you before theme, which I feel kind of badly about because this is not the thing you should do before someone does theme and variations.
Megan, to tell you the truth, I was in such a blur. I was in. I
Okay,
was
good.
in. It
Good.
was like everything happened so fast and so underwater, and then it was done.
Yeah,
I like all these emotions. I barely remember.
good.
I
I'm glad I
remember.
didn't disrupt your concentration because I came backstage and gave you a hug and burst into like the sloppiest crying that I think I've ever done in my life. Like I
No,
was like,
everybody was. I remember a lot of people had tears before it started. Tyler,
yeah,
it's before we started theme, and I was like, I have three more ballets to go.
yeah, yeah,
Calm
yeah.
down,
You had to focus.
you know. Yeah,
Yeah.
but no. After that, after the curtain went up, I was. It happened so fast. I
Uh-huh.
was. I remember being exhausted after, and just like, and then I felt it. I felt the emotional weight
Yeah.
at the end. I was in my dressing room without moving or anything for a long time.
With
Yeah,
your Red Bull and all of
yeah.
your drinks. Tell
No, that was
everybody your process for preparing for a show. Because you warm up at a different time. You
yeah, yeah.
you have
I do my
10
own thing.
different beverages.
Yes, I have pre-show and post-show beverages.
Okay, let's hear them.
I have water with some of the electrolytes
Hmm.
in one bottle that looks green and is like window cleaner. It's kind of funny. Either that or coconut water.
Okay.
A Red Bull depends on what I'm doing. If I'm doing
What
tarantella,
time before the show would you start the Red Bull? Because you don't want to crash too soon.
no, yeah, that's the problem. Sometimes I crash.
And then also a coffee, am I right?
Sometimes a coffee,
How
coffee and
can
a
you
Red
do a Red Bull and coffee, Joaquin? This is
Bull.
explaining a lot now.
When you do the rep of that was created for a guy that was a boxer and sort of completely insane in the best way possible, you have to have extra help,
Energy. Yeah.
otherwise you won't make it.
Yeah.
And all my rep was like that, like the jumping jackrabbit sort of thing.
So then what are your after show beverages? Are they
My
involving
after show,
alcohol or is there more
yeah.
electrolytes?
No, I think a good beer is great, and sometimes a little bit of vodka, depending on how painful the show is.
And you're having this in your dressing room before you go home.
Yeah. I always have a fridge, and kept cool water and beer, and yeah, it's good to have a treat
It is
after.
good to have a treat. You just don't
It's
want to
good for the
mix up the
muscles.
drinks and have the one before.
No, exactly. But at least one every 10 doctors recommend having a beer for your muscles after a
That's not a
show.
good statistic. So I have a great memory. Every time you'd come down stage, you'd just be in great spirits. You could really tell that you loved to perform.
Yeah.
You know,
I,
that was
I,
your thing, and you would get hyped up for it, and you would come down, and you'd be like, hey! And you know, me, I'm like overwhelmed by what's about to happen for many years, still trying to process the task at hand, and I'd be like, hey.
I think I was always, it always make me happy to perform. Even when I was a kid and I was acting for my family or whatever, it was always in my blood, and it made me happy no matter what was happening in my life, you know. And I think, you know, we all go through stuff, and I had my share of going through things, but I never, when I was backstage and I was on stage, I was so happy, always
Yeah.
so happy.
How did you
And
ever deal with shows not going the way you like them to? Because you're a
um, well,
perfectionist. Like,
yes, yeah,
oh, can I tell everybody how much of a perfectionist you are?
okay, depends.
Do you know what I'm going to say? Like, if you were doing your variation in rehearsal,
Right.
and it was like the third try of something, and it wasn't going well, you would just be like, that's it. And you would go to the side, grab your things, and leave. On like, I can't even count how
Really?
many times. Yes. And there's something I loved about it because you were like, I'm not going to beat it into the ground while it's not happening. But like, very, very often you're like, it's not happening today. I'm sorry, I got to go. And you would say, you'd be like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And then you'd leave, and the ballet mistress or master, whoever it was, would look at me, and we would just giggle. Like, it was just
That is terrible.
no, but you're like, I hope my dancers don't hear this.
Yeah.
No, but there is something of value to it
It
to
was,
know
you know,
when
it,
to
it
throw
was,
in the towel and to know
but
today
it
it's
was
not
about
happening.
myself. It
Yeah.
was about myself. I was never meant,
Oh
you know, I
no, we
never
didn't
meant to do
feel that it
this.
was about us. It
Okay,
was
good.
obviously a very internal thing. Oh no, no. It was just this is his process. And if someone hadn't worked with you before and you'd do that and they would look at me and be like, it's fine. He's
Yeah.
good, you know. It's not a bad
I,
thing.
I was, I was always very, very critical of myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and
And
when you would get upset, it would be like another person's best version ever. So I think that's why we would laugh because it didn't look bad, but you were like, ah, and your little, you know, Spanish drama, you would just leave in such an intense way.
can't
And
help it. Can't help it. It's
I
the
know,
blood.
I know. Well, it was really entertaining for me, I have to say. I never, you know, you never did that in the middle of a pas de deux.
No, no,
It
no,
was
no, no.
always just for your
I
own
would.
dancing. You know, another question I have, because I work with other partners now for the first time ever.
How is
And
that going?
it's going
How's
well. It's going
that going?
well. Yeah, I think of you fondly. But when we, like, okay, you're such a technician. And when we would work together, though, so, you know, we do a pas de deux together, and then I go off to the side and you run your variation and you work with the ballet master. And then you go off to the side and I would do my variation. In all of the years, I think maybe one time you gave me like some input. Like someone wasn't there one time and we like talked about some things in my Sleeping Beauty variation together. But I just always, I mean, and it's not a critical thing, but I always noticed you were very just like, you didn't, you know, try to take over anybody's moment or time by telling them what to do. Like you probably watched me over the years try to figure things out, and you probably had an idea better than the ballet master sometimes of, oh no, she's doing this, or oh, she should do it that way. And you always just left it alone, which in a way I thought was really respectful. Like when I went to Broadway, you're not even allowed to say anything to the other dancers
Really?
or cast members. It has to go through like the
The
dance
dance
captain.
captain.
So, you know, in a way it's very respectful, but I wonder like where that comes from.
I think that I always consider you such a smart dancer. You know, like you learn
This isn't the
from.
answer I thought you were going to give.
No, this is true. All these years, you know, you have learned to to find your way. You know, I think you're one of those people. I never saw you lost. You know, if I would have
Oh.
seen you lost, you know,
Sometimes I
that
was feeling like he's probably seen this done in a totally better way, and like I, you
no,
know, like as you're trying to figure it out, you get nervous because people are seeing the process, which is not as always very pretty, And I was always like, oh gosh, he's probably thinking something over there.
No, I always watch you. I always watch you, and I tell you now, in retrospect, I think you've learned so much from yourself, your own way of figuring things out, and I think there's so much value in that, and I was very lucky to be in through all these years in that process with you,
Yeah, it's true.
goofing around in the meantime.
There was a point that the rehearsals became totally absurdly silly with you. That was really fun. I don't know
So
what
many.
changed. What changed that
So
was suddenly, and maybe it was when I came back from Broadway. We were just a little more relaxed.
Yeah, you were more relaxed. I was always relaxed, but you had this block. So many times. I'd be like, I'd tell you something ridiculous or something. You'd be like, trying to concentrate.
That's true. Remember in Beza, there's that moment where I don't know, are you supposed to
Yeah,
whisper something into my ear? I don't think you're supposed to really, but you
but
always had something interesting to say.
and also in the Andantino rehearsals, I remember goofing so much in those. Remember Andantino?
Well, that's with, specific ballet masters. It brings out new ridiculous behavior.
Very true.
You know what you can get away with different people.
Obviously I miss the stage and I miss, but I think the moments in the studio is what I miss the most.
Yeah, we honestly, you and I had some incredibly fun. I've never laughed so hard. I have this photo of us trying to rehearse something in Nutpaw, and I'm like in the second position, and my face is like dying laughing. I should post it on this. I just like for the last couple of years, that's how our rehearsals went. Like we had danced together for so many years that we couldn't even take anything seriously. Like it was almost too easy to dance together at that point.
Sometimes it got so easy, Megan. I mean, I could tell from the first step how it was gonna go with you.
Or how bad.
No, I just knew exactly to the side you were gonna go.
Yeah.
This pirouette is gonna not be good, so I was ready for it, for every single thing.
I remember
Especially in
we did it. Yeah, were you gonna say Chaipa? We did a Chaipa in Paris.
in Chaipa and in Natpa also, in both. I mean,
I remember
in those
doing a Chaipa with you in Paris where I swear you only had like the edge of your fingertip to partner because that's the distance we had, and it just we just could guess where each other was going to be so well that things happened in a way that was really fun at the end.
Yeah, it was very fun. Yeah, when that happens, and with us, it happened the last few years at least. At least 5 or 6 last years.
Yeah.
It was like that. It was like we didn't even need to rehearse.
Yeah. So
but
all of that pain was worth it. Wait, what'd you say?
I said, but of course, Megan wanted to rehearse.
Well, I'm not like considered an over rehearser.
No. I'm just joking. I'm just considered an under rehearser.
It's good.
How
though.
about
That's
all those
healthy.
gigs that we did in Hawaii? Yeah, that was fun.
I was just talking to Pam the other day. She was like, you first came here when you were 19, when you were a soloist. And I was like, I know, Pam. I have been going there almost as long as I've been in New York City Ballet.
That's been like a second family.
Yeah.
Hawaii.
Yeah, what a wonderful gig to do. Everyone was always so jealous. That was the best part.
I know. The first year we went, we posted a picture. We posted or we printed and had somebody post the picture on the board of the company of us on the beach. Yes, I had a.
This is
sort of
before
like
the iPhone.
Yeah, I had a towel wrapped around my head like an Arab, as an Arab. What are they called? Chief or king? An Arab king, and she was fanning me with a.
That's totally not appropriate for this Me Too environment.
No, it's not. It's not. But it was so funny because everybody was in New York, so cold, and
that became the thing. It was like every time we went on the gig, we would like send videos of us
and come back with the left hand, and it was really.
Yeah, that was great. I want to ask you about how you got the position you have at your new company. I know there was an interesting application process, and What is the situation there? How long is your contract? Everything about that.
So the way it happens here, you just don't get appointed like in other companies. You don't. You have to submit a project. You have to actually work out a project. What you want to do with the company within for the next 5 years. The contract is a 5-year contract, extended to 8 if things are going well. Um, so yeah, I sent out my application. I worked on this project, and my vision of what the company should be and what I wanted to do, and I got selected. So I got the job.
I know that there was an interesting, a special moment, full circle moment for you. Someone that was you had to have some recommendations or.
Yeah. You have to. You can. I mean, it's not a mandatory thing,
Oh,
but
okay.
I got some letters, and Misha wrote me a beautiful letter. He's been one of my idols for the one that actually pushed me to dance, and it was very, very special to me because it was not just something that his secretary would bring and he just signed. It was very personal, and it meant the world to me.
That's really
Like,
cool.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It was very special. And yeah, I didn't know what I was gonna do yet. I was just testing the waters, and it felt kind of good not to have a script. So many years in a company, with the security and all of that, which is wonderful. But it felt kind of good to be lost and find your way, and try different things, and I like the process.
That's great.
Then this sort of landed in my lap, and it was the right fit. It was coming back, homecoming and the prodigal son and all that.
It is amazing timing because you finished your career, this position opened up, and you kind of slipped right into it.
Yeah. I mean, I would have, if I had to choose, I would have liked to have more time in the unknown, and it was
You
a
would
very,
have? I would never.
yeah,
Oh my gosh.
yeah.
I want
I
to
don't know.
like go from one day dancing into another job, like the next
Really?
day. Oh yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I'm always been like that. Like I had to move out of my country.
Right.
I've always been adventurous like that, and then not knowing kind of, in my case, it pushed you further to kind of find out what you want,
Yeah.
and I don't know. It helps me. That adversity kind of like pushed me to have more drive.
Uh-huh. So what was your project? What were your ideas for the company, and what were you planning to do before the shutdown happened?
Well, I wanted to sort of push the dancers a bit more into musicality. Things I learned and I had the amazing opportunity of dancing. I've been lucky to be in a studio with amazing choreographers, and unbelievable. I didn't have to tell you how unbelievable the rep that we did at City Ballet
Right.
is.
Right.
So I wanted to for the company to be more versatile, so they could do Robbins, Balanchine.
Right. So before you arrived, it was just very traditional classical ballets.
No. They also did contemporary. Before I arrived, it was sort of like a two-group company, because before me it was Jose Carlos Martinez. He used to be an étoile in Paris Opera, and he took over. And he took over right after Nacho Duato, and Nacho was there for 23 years.
Oh wow. Okay.
And he made it his company. It was like an author company, and it was all his rep, which is very contemporary and
Right. I didn't
neoclassical.
realize that he was there.
Yeah, he was there for a long time, and the company had such a strong identity. So for Jose Carlos, he had to sort of like build it from ground zero
Uh-huh.
into a classical company. So what happened is that there was two
I
groups,
see.
the contemporaries and the classicals.
People were
So
specializing.
exactly. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to unify that
Cool.
and make it one group. Of course, there's going to be a few exceptions that are really good at contemporary or only at classical,
Right.
like very much like I was at City Ballet. But I want to include everybody in the productions and as much as possible.
Yeah.
So right now it's kind of like lucky in a way, because we were the rep we were having some tours with a rep that was kind of like carried over from the prior director. I added some. There was some additions to it that we already started performing, but we were getting ready to do a brand new Giselle.
Cool.
For the winter, and the costumes and sets and dramaturgy are being done right now. And I don't know if we'll get to do it, but
Eventually.
Eventually we'll do it.
Yeah.
And then we had a program which was very, sort of like a hybrid of my entire career. It was like, it was Apollo, Balanchine's Apollo, Concerto DSCH by Ramansky, and White Darkness by Nacho Duato. So it was sort of like, it was like a sort of like a small vision in a nutshell of like a presentation of what I want for the company.
That's awesome. And what has been like a surprising moment for you as a director that you didn't expect? Like maybe having to communicate difficult things to dancers, or maybe just the logistical red tape that there is in Spain.
There was many challenges, I think, on a daily basis, but I think I try to deal very well with if I had to give a dancer a talk that I don't, that is an awkward subject, about weight. I'm very respectful, but I like to say things. I don't like to, I like to put things on the table so everybody's on the same page. And I don't like when, among dancers, what's right and what people feel. I don't think it's cool to let it simmer. It's like in a relationship. I always compare it to a relationship or a friendship,
Yeah.
Like if you don't put things on the table, there's some resentment that happens, and
and then there might be a tension between a dancer where they're not, fulfilling the potential that you see for them.
Yeah, and also, you don't, if you don't tell them about the weight, but then you take them out of a role without telling them, it creates. I like to have a respect, mutual respect, and everybody in their place, and that happens if you're straight with them. And but the first few times it was challenging. I had to act all serious, and
which is
a
departure from how I know you.
Exactly. I think it's challenging to understand or like assume that you're no longer a dancer. When you're in the studio, especially, and it's hard. It takes time.
They've only really seen you as their director. They don't know you in all of the ways that you feel. When you walk into a studio, you have all this experience behind you, and you're like, I'm Joaquin, I'm normal, I'm a human, I've had these struggles too.
But I am pretty normal with them. I don't, as we getting to know each other now. I danced for the company in 2016, so I already tested with them, and I knew most of them.
That's cool.
But now it's, maybe perhaps that's worse, coming back.
That's true.
And then
you're
the boss.
In charge.
Yeah, because I remember goofing a lot when I came after dancing.
Oops.
Of course. No, but I think everybody respects that I am there mostly because what happens as a director, you have so many other duties and but I'm supposed to be done at 4:30 every day, but I'm there until 8. And
That's
but
cool.
I love it. I love my job.
I'm so happy for you. What a great transition you've had.
Yeah, now these times are challenging, but in a different way. I'm using the time well, and I think I'm making a lot of steps up in my mind because I'm sort of choreographing, not really choreographing, but arranging more the first act of Giselle.
So are you the choreographer?
Yeah, it's gonna be my version, but second act kind of stays the same.
Okay,
there's a few changes because I'm working with I basically wanna wash the face of Giselle.
Nice. I like it.
It's perfect timing now. Everybody has to wash their hands. And
this is a sanitized Giselle.
Exactly.
For the modern world.
Exactly. No, you know what I mean. Like I'm using creative team is amazing. Cool. People that have done operas and theater, and I'm using a dramaturg. It's very fun. So I'm having video conference with them, and that adds a lot to, to my routine, my artless routine here, staying at home
in quarantine.
It's gonna be amazing. These people are geniuses, and I was reluctant to open my vision, when they were telling me what they wanted to do, and of course everybody's creative genius starts to
Right.
float, and I had to like bring it down. No, but this has to be this way.
Yeah.
But I think we've come to we talked a lot, and we collaborate. I think it's gonna be a good version.
That's
I like
awesome. And I want to finish on this happy note. Your mom must be so glad that you're back in Madrid.
it. She is.
How is that? How often do you see your mom? And
For moms it's never enough, but
for you,
but
it is.
when the first few months that I was here, I was so into my job, and staying late, and she lives just outside Madrid,
Okay.
and it's that 20-minute window that made me not see her until the weekend sometimes, and she would complain that I saw you more when you were in New York.
That's not true.
I know, but my mom. That's who I get it from.
That's so cute. I'm happy for
Right.
you that you're closer to her, and that's nice
Yes.
at this time in
That's
life.
that's super nice. Having the family close, it's very important.
That's great. Thank you so much for doing this with me, Joaquin, and
Thank
for your patience with my technical difficulties.
Absolutely, you deserve all the patience and all the attention. Amazing.
Well, I
I
wish
miss.
you all the best.
Thank you.
And
Big
stay
kisses to everybody.
safe. Mwah.
Ciao.
Bye.